Okay, there we go. So hand over to Jenny.
Thank you. So you'll see I'm on two screens. So I'm going to talk to you for a minute, and then I'm going to go and start cooking or making. So thank you so much for inviting me to do this demo. My passion is to help people to cook plant-based food. So I trained as a chef. I've been vegan for about 5 years, but a chef for about 25. I started in places like Claridge's and St Martin's Lane and Goldman Sachs, and very much cooking for rich and famous royalty, George Clooney, Madonna, Dave Beckham, all of these kind of people. And it was great fun, but I was very much a meat eater and a dairy eater, and I didn't really understand veganism, to be honest. So about 6 years ago, my journey into veganism started, and a friend of mine was vegan, and I had been vegetarian before that. And I just didn't understand the dairy industry and the eggs. So she gave me this book to read, and I read this book in one train trip, back to front, and sorry, not back to front, cover to cover. And that was it. At the end of the train journey, I was vegan because I just couldn't be involved in that industry anymore. So when I left professional kitchens, I decided that I was going to go vegan with a friend. So a friend of mine had been vegan for ages. Her son, who was about 20, really wanted to be vegan, and she wasn't sure how to cook him nutritious meals that the whole family would enjoy. So I kind of went on the same journey. We got together once a month. We'd cook up a load of vegan food and we'd feed it to our teenage kids, and they'd be like, yeah, actually, this is really good. And we thought, we've got to get out there and spread the word a bit further. So Root Fuel is very much about education and allowing people to become kitchen confident. We're an online vegan cookery school, and we help people to cook family favourite dishes. I'm sorry, I'm hesitating because I can hear myself echoing back. It's very distracting. Right, I'm going to pause this camera, and then I'm going to go on to my other one, and I'm going to start with oat milk. Right, can you hear me all?
Yes, we can.
Yes, fab. Okay, right, oat milk. I'm going to move this pesto stuff out of the way. I just thought it'd be nice and colourful, this one. And the oats, I have got 100 grams of oats here, and I've soaked these overnight. You can use gluten-free oats if you want to. I haven't bought them because I don't particularly have a problem with gluten, but I've soaked these overnight, so you can see they've taken in loads of the water. So I'm going to drain those, and I'm going to rinse them. And I use a, what I should say actually is you may have questions, but if you can just save them till the end, because I can't see the chat on this group. So if you can save those questions for the end, I'll come back onto camera once we've finished everything. Okay, so you don't want to use this water. So I'm going to discard this water, and I'm going to rinse these for a minute or so, just to make sure that we've got them really nice and clean. And then I'm going to stick them into the blender. So this will just get all of the processing dirt off of the oats, and make sure that they're as pure as they can be when we make this milk. This milk will last in the fridge for about 2 or 3 days. So I tend to make it every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And then I stick it into a sealed jam jar, actually. And okay, so I've just rinsed those, sealed into a sealed jam jar, and then that lasts really nicely, and it's quite nice to take away. You know, if you're going to a hotel or something and you don't want to rely on them having a vegan alternative. Okay, so I've drained those. I'm going to stick those into this. Now, my NutriBullet is probably one of the best kitchen friends that I have. And what I'm going to do, so I've got the oats in there, 100 grams of oats, and I will send the recipes out for everybody as well. And 750 grams of water in there.
I'm going to stick the lid on, and I'm going to turn my mic off because this is the noisy part here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to blend these. It's quite hypnotic actually watching these. I'm going to blend these for about 3 or 4 minutes. And what I want to do is I want to have a really, really, they all want to be blended. So I don't want to see any oats in there at all by the time I've finished blending. Okay, so I'd probably blend this for a little bit longer if I had a bit more time and I was doing this properly. But what I'm now going to do, so this is muslin. I've just picked this up from the local fabric shop. It was less than £1. Yeah, music, definitely. Less than £1 for this square. And I'm just going, so I've got the sieve underneath and I've got muslin on top. I'm just going to leave this in here for about half an hour. I'm going to add a tiny bit of salt into there as well. I'm just going to leave this to drain into the bowl for about half an hour. Once I've left that to drain, what I'll do is I'll just pick this muslin out and I'll start to squeeze it through. So you can see how it's nicely coming out of there into the bottom. And that tastes so much better than any of your shop that bought. Probably cheaper, and it hasn't got any of the preservatives in at all. Fab. So we'll come to that, back to that shortly. Next up, pesto. Pesto was one of my absolute all-time favourite sauces. So pasta, new potatoes, any kind of salads. And when I became vegan, I was like, right, I need to find a way to make pesto vegan. So if you haven't, I'm sure that everybody here has got some nutritional yeast. If you haven't, it's an absolute staple for your cupboard. We've got some fresh basil, we've got a lemon, we've got some olive oil and some pine nuts. So these are the things that really give this the flavour. I've just toasted these slightly, and the smell, honestly, I wish that we had smell-o-vision. I wish that you could smell those. And I was lucky enough, I visited a friend's allotment at the weekend and she had some garlic. So I've got some fresh garlic straight out of the ground on Saturday. So I'm going to take all the heads off the basil here. And I'm a real basil fan, so I love the flavour, I love the smell of the basil. It's just so lovely and fragrant. But if you're not particularly a basil fan, you can use slightly less basil, but obviously pesto is a basil heavy dish. But a whole bunch of this basil going here. So when we started the online cookery school, we filmed a load of recipes which we're going to show you next. And whenever I do a demo, I always take a chickpea tuna, because people can't believe it's one of the first dishes that we created, and people can't believe that it's not tuna. I know that sounds really odd. To me, it doesn't taste quite as fishy, because obviously that's not what we're trying to get at. But it's a really lovely sandwich filler, or jacket potatoes in the winter. In fact, I had it on Saturday. I did a demo on Saturday, and the amount of people that said, "What? That's not tuna? Wow, that's amazing!" And it's one of my biggest things. I love giving people food and then telling them it's vegan, because I want everybody to taste it without judging it first. Right, so I've got most of the leaves on here. So next up, once this pesto's done, we're going to show you one of the videos that we created. Our cookery school, we have a series of courses, and this one is from the 31 Days of Plant Power. So it's really aimed at anybody that wants to start their journey, or is a little bit fed up of the choice that they have. You know, we tend to kind of do the same things with our dishes all of the time, don't we? We tend to have the staples that we like to do. So it's just a bit of a refresh or an introduction to plant-based cookery. And again, I'll send the recipes out for these. So that is 2 tablespoons of nooch, the basil, head of basil, my lovely, gorgeous pine nuts that smell delicious. I'm going to put the juice of half a lemon in here. And a nice tip for trying to get your lemon juice out is stick your fork in there, hold it, give it a little wiggle, turn it round. If you've not got a juicer to hand, that's a really nice way to get your juice out. My oil in there. I'm now thinking what I can have for lunch with this. I have some pasta with this one. And then some of my garlic, 2 of my heads of garlic here. And again, a tip for getting your garlic out is just chop the head off and then give it a squeeze, and you can see that these have just popped out here. A bit of soil on there, it all goes to the same place, makes us feel nice and healthy. I'm going to just chop this garlic up really very roughly, and then I'm going to stick this in here, and I'm going to find my blender top. So you've almost got your breakfast and your lunch here with a couple more ingredients. Sorry guys, I pressed the wrong button. That was not good for the ears, was it? I'm going to add some salt and pepper to that. But look at that colour. And what you can do with this as well, you can add some spinach or some kale to this just to get a few of your extra greens in there. You can also add some microgreens, which I've been using quite a lot lately. And that is perfect. So as I say, cook some pasta, add it to that, cook some new potatoes and some peas, add it to that with some spinach, which is what I did at the weekend. That's a really lovely versatile dressing as well. So I think next we're going to show the video. So this is tuna 3 ways. Mark, are you okay to play that one?
Yeah, I'll start that going.
Thank you.
Now. Let me just do share. Hopefully that's switched for everyone.
You're in for a treat today. We're going to be making tuna 3 ways. So obviously it's not tuna. We had a party recently, didn't we?
We did.
And we made this. And we said, do you want some tuna? And everybody that came was not vegan. They had never tried so much vegan food, and they could not believe that this wasn't actually tuna.
Yeah.
So we're going to make it with some chickpeas.
It was one of the favourites actually on the night, wasn't it? Which
Yeah.
was brilliant. Good feedback.
So while I'm preparing, are you okay to mash these chickpeas?
Yeah, of course,
Give them a good old
absolutely.
mash.
I'll pop these over
They're just
here.
tinned chickpeas. We've drained off the juice of the chickpeas, the brine, which we're going to use for the mayonnaise, which we're also going to make.
Yeah.
And we're going to add into that some chopped red onion, half chopped red onion, some lemon juice, some garlic powder, some Dijon mustard, some capers, soya sauce, and some nutritional yeast, that was a bit of a revelation for me when I turned vegan. Nutritional yeast.
It's actually really good for you, and it's got B12 in it. It's got a really nice cheesy, nutty taste to you. So if you are missing a bit of cheese, then just sprinkle a little bit on, just to give you that little cheesy flavour. Just adds again another layer to your cooking.
Cheesy, nutty. It's great.
Yeah. sometimes you end up sprinkling it on everything initially when you're like just trying to get used to different flavours. But
How are we looking with chickpeas?
yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Perfect. Right.
Can we get over?
Let's stick these red onion in. And then I'm going to chop some capers. I've got 12 capers.
And they
Just
give a
spread
really
those down a
nice
bit.
salty taste to them, doesn't it?
Tuna, we used to get through a lot of tuna in our house, and it'd be tuna on jacket potato or tuna sandwiches or tuna pasta. So I thought, why don't we just make all of those today?
Yeah, absolutely.
And show you how versatile this is. So half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and we'll obviously have the recipe in the files. The Dijon. Squeeze a lemon. Nutritional yeast. Whoop. Nutritional yeast. Tablespoon of soy.
I mean, this is so easy, this recipe, and it is so yummy, so good.
There's a few ingredients in it, but actually you'll see that when you try it, that it's worth the effort.
You know what, I actually prefer it to when I used to eat tuna.
I'm not surprised.
We actually had some people on our intro sort of mini launch we had a lady who was allergic to tuna and could never eat tuna, so she's going to me saying, you know I can eat this. So she was really pleased that she could find an alternative. So sometimes it is down to food intolerances when you need to find an alternative, and there seems to be more and more of that, doesn't there? There's people intolerant to certain sort of say shellfish or tuna.
Right, so tuna, the chickpea tuna is ready. We're going to move that to one side, and we're going to make, or you're going to make, the mayonnaise.
I know.
So aquafaba is the juice, the brine that you take out of the chickpeas, and we only need a small amount of that. So we're going to stick it into a jug. You might need to swap places with me, actually.
Shall we?
I'll take these out the way.
Okay.
And you've got your aquafaba.
Is that going first?
Yep. Then you've got your, what have you got over there? You've got your oil.
Put that in next?
Yes. It's super simple, just chuck it all in together. You'll be really surprised how quickly this comes together. And actually you'll never want to buy a jar of mayonnaise again because it tastes so good.
So we've got some
Black pepper,
white pepper,
and
and some salt in there. And the two together. Got some white wine vinegar. And we've got some Dijon mustard.
You just need a stick blender for this, but the stick blenders you can pick up for £10. You don't really need a great quality one, and actually they're even the ones that are a bit cheaper are really good still for soups and this kind of thing.
I think mine was like £5.
So everything's in here.
Yes, I think that's everything in there.
Brilliant.
So the next step is
Go.
put it in, put it in, and you just.
Looks good.
That is it. How cool is that? That is mayo. Amazing, and it tastes fantastic. It takes seconds.
Let's chuck it into here.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to let you do the deal.
So look at the colour of that. You wouldn't know, and if you tried this, honestly, you wouldn't know that it's not real mayonnaise.
Yeah. Your boys can't tell the difference, can they?
No.
We just dupe the boys into eating it because they're like, oh, I can't tell the difference. It's really cool.
Brilliant. And then we're going to let's add some sweet corn into here as well.
Again, getting just more veg in.
Yeah, so half of that, I reckon. That's tin. Perfect. Wonderful, and there we go. That is the tuna. So we're going to grab some pasta. We've already cooked some whole wheat pasta.
Yeah.
We're going to grab some bread, and we have got some jacket potatoes in the oven. So we're going to get all those together.
Brill, thank you so much, Mark. So finish off pudding. We need pudding, obviously. I know it's only, well, it's not even 12 o'clock yet, but pudding is the order of the day. So I use these wonderful silicone bags for freezing stuff to put into my desserts and smoothies, and you can freeze kale and all of that kind of stuff. So when my bananas get to a point where I think I either need to make banana bread with these or freeze them, I slice them into little slices. So I put these in this morning, and we're going to make nice cream. So nice cream is literally bananas which are blended up, and a fruit or an extra flavour. So I've chosen some raspberries today because I just love the flavour of raspberries, and I'm going to have these after my pesto pasta. Again, I'm using the NutriBullet, but you can use a food processor if that's what you want to do. And I'm going to add these into here. And this, it's surprising how creamy this turns. It's like an ice cream. It doesn't freeze after particularly well, so you can make a batch, but you just need to get it out and give it a mix again before you want to eat it. Otherwise it's a bit kind of sorbet-ish. So I've taken this out of the freezer a couple of minutes ago, just let it get a bit of heat into it, and then I'm going to blend this for a minute. I'll save your ears. And with this one, you will need to take it off a couple of times, just because there's no liquid in there. The blender hasn't really got anything to work with too much. But trust me, the process is absolutely worth it. So you want to bring these up here, mix it all up. Wish I could send you all a little sample of all these things. You can just about see it starting to come together here. So I'm just going to get another couple of goes, another couple of mixes. That colour, awesome. I don't know if the colour is showing terribly well on the screen, but it's almost like sort of a mixture between a sorbet and an ice cream, and it's really lovely and creamy. So those are my 4 recipes. I'll come back onto the main screen and I'll answer any questions if you have them. Hello guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that was useful.
It's fantastic, Jenny. Thank you.
Amazing.
Really good. Really good. And it all looked very, very yummy. I think Sam said, and I completely agree, you should probably just be an affiliate for NutriBullet. Let's be honest.
Okay.
I've got one that my partner bought one years ago, and I don't think it's even ever been used. It's been in the back of the cupboard, but it's definitely coming out this afternoon.
Definitely. Any of those things are dead easy to do, as you saw.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible how easy it was to do sort of some of those things that you would sort of think would be really difficult. I mean, mayonnaise in particular, I was just like, wow, that's so easy. But the oat milk as well, I think, you know, that's obviously takes a bit of time to percolate through, but it's amazing. So
Jane has just said, could a stick blender be used instead of a blender? Not really.
The NutriBullet, yeah.
Yeah, so not really for the nice cream, but you could for the pesto. So you just have to kind of work it a little bit. And yeah, I have both, just because the stick blender is, as I said on the video, less than tenner. NutriBullet is definitely worth the investment. I have quite a lot of green juices and things like that I use quite a lot. So I think if you buy it and you're conscious about finding things to use it for, you will.
I'm just thinking patience level of having to keep taking it off and bringing the bananas to the top. I have to get somebody else to do it, or I lose my rag.
It's actually better in a food processor, but I don't have a food processor. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Jenny, could I ask a question, please? That you used the aquafaba, but then I missed what the yellow liquid was in the mayonnaise.
So there's the chickpea water, there's the oil, and there's a Dijon mustard and white wine vinegar.
And what kind of oil would you use?
Something that's not terribly flavoured. So you'd want to use a veg oil, a sunflower oil, or an olive oil, but less strong one.
Thank you.
Can pesto's been made with other types of herbs? Pesto is very much a basil-y flavour, so you can add some in, but basil does have to be the kind of main show.
Okay, just wondered. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for clearing up an issue that I had with oat milk when I've made it previously, and it was the very first part of not using the water that you'd soaked it in. Really simple part, but I was just like, oh yeah, that's why it was all cloudy and didn't work very well. So thank you for that. So I'm going to try that again. You've inspired me to do that, so thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, well, you just kind of clear out all of the processing crap that it's been through to that point. And then you start with a clean slate or clean oats.
So there's a couple more questions related to the oat milk in the chat, Jenny. So Kanika's asking, can millet also be used? And then Bethan was asking whether it works in coffee. So I don't know the best order to answer those, but.
So the millets, I've not used millets, but I'm sure they can. And oat milk work in coffee. Yeah, it makes it really lovely and creamy, actually. Yeah, but just make sure that once you've got it in your jar, before you use it, just give it a good shake. And then it's, yeah, I don't know if anyone here drinks oat milk and coffee, but yeah, it makes it really lovely and creamy.
I always use it, Jenny, and I like to heat it up as well. And then I've got one of those little stick whisk things, so I froth it up as well, and it's really nice then.
Oh, yeah, great plan.
Fantastic.
Yes, I'm going to send the recipes to Jane, and then I think she's going to send them out. Is that right? Is that okay?
And what we'll also do is, Jane, if you want to pop them across to me, when I've got the video up, I'll put them, or a link to them, depending on how we need to do this, into the captions, not the captions, the piece for the video.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll sort it out together.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We'll do that.
Right. Said how does the fresh oat, so how long is it fresh? So 2 to 3 days in the fridge, but you'll smell it. So if you open it and it tastes it smells a little bit like it's getting sort of bitter, then that's the time to throw it away. But hopefully you've used it all in that time. You can obviously half the recipe as well if you're not going to be drinking that much. Calories in the oat milk, to be honest, I don't know, because I don't count calories, but I think if you put it into MyFitnessPal or something like that, obviously it's 100 grams of oats, so you just need to sort of break that down into
excellent. Thank
how much
you.
you're having.
Oh, that's good. And what about soya milk? Is it similar to make soya milk, or is that a totally different process?
No, it's a totally different process, and some people I don't want to get into the whole debate of soy milk, but I drink mainly oat milk, but no, soy milk is a whole different process.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything, Jenny, you say when it starts to smell a bit bitter, is there anything you can do with it at that point? Because I always try and avoid throwing food away. So I'll then sort of think, well, could you then still cook it into something and use it? Or is it literally, no, just you've got to bin it at that point?
Yeah, I think it's the sort of process. So it's like mold, isn't it? You know, you would,
Yeah,
you're going to use some bread and there was a little bit of mold on it, you might just cut that off and use it, or if it was covered in mold. So it depends at what point of the sort of turning stage that you get that. But I would say if you're having it just for yourself, if you make half of the recipe, then you can hopefully you get through it all, but you can freeze it as well. So you can make it,
that's good to know.
Put it in your silicone bag, stick it in the freezer, and then get it out as you need it.
Okay. Caitlin's asking if you could make it into a cheese. I have a feeling that may be a more complicated question, but I'll leave you to answer it.
Yeah, cheese is quite a long process and takes quite a lot of churning and temperature control and all of that kind of stuff. So it's not something I've tried, and I think you'd probably need to add a few more ingredients into it, but maybe that's the next one.
Fantastic. We'll see you next week for a cheese demonstration there, yeah? Brilliant. Okay, any more questions for Jenny? We've got just a couple of minutes left.
Shamari's just said about, is it on YouTube? Yes, I'll send the link with the recipes.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much, everyone. I really enjoyed that. And if you've got anyone that wants to start their journey or is just in the middle of their journey and a little bit bored, then just get them to follow us on social media, Rooty Fuel. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for doing that, Jenny. I think that's the first time we've done a split screen cooking demo on this, but I think it all worked. Hopefully it all worked, and it was fantastic to see. It all looked very tasty and well timed now for going into lunch for those of us in the UK at least. I'm feeling hungry. Good. Okay, so just a couple of minutes before we run out of time, I think we should probably just do the sort of the admin bits, which maybe Sam, you would like to just remind us of, or particularly new people.
Yeah, I suppose I feel like a broken record to those that have been here for a while, but yeah.
Not the recording, actually.
So just to let you know,